Hey guys, it's another Friday. Must mean it's time to waste some of your precious time watching the Stash Report from the Stash Project. Today is the 4th of December, 2015, and we have some kit announcements to talk about that we had sort of hinted about on a December compilation video, as well as some kits that have come out, a few new releases, and a couple of reissues. This will probably end up being uploaded late. Looks like I'm going to be working this weekend, as well as having an event here on Friday, so it's just going to, if it doesn't get up till next week, my apologies, but such is real life. If anybody wants to send me a check for 50 grand or so, I'm more than happy to just do this full time. But at any rate, first up, we will mention that a few people have gotten hold of the new quote-unquote 72 Oldsmobile Cutlass, the Indy 500 pace car version that has the Linda Vaughn figure. We want to bring along the message that kit does include a newly tooled grill, really front end because the grill and the bumpers and everything are all attached to it, but a newly tooled grill that is correct for the 442 version. Now, people who don't know the lineage of the kits, the original kit back in 2007 that was marketed as the Hurst Oldsmobile 442 offered the ability to build either a Hurst Olds or a 442. However, it did not include the actual correct grille to do so. Then there was the Cutlass Supreme Custom that had the up top and the low pro wheels and tires and stuff like that. And now they've done this Indy 500 version here that came out last month, as we actually, are in December here, so November's last month now. And it was being reissued with the up top included. Everybody was, kind of happy about that. The price was a little high because it includes this new Linda Vaughn figure. It's not even the same Linda Vaughn figure that Revell has used in the past. And silently, without mentioning it to anyone, they included that second grill, which I think most of us thought was the grill out of the Cutlass Supreme version, because we thought, myself included, even though I own both kits, thought that Cutlass Supreme Custom version had a different grill in it, and it doesn't. It has the same grill that their first kit had. So they have very quietly, in the sense that it's not in any of the literature about the kit, and it's not being posted anywhere from Revell itself, have included the correct kit needed to build the 442 finally. The Indy 500 version, by the way, does come with the 442 stripes and decals and everything, so it's not like you have to go buy the kit just for the grill if you want to build a 442 version out of the original Hurst Oldsmobile. The kit also, as we had suspected, does not include the low pro tires or wheels. It doesn't include like the rear spoiler and some of the other stuff, or it may, but I had not seen it in the pictures. But it definitely does not include the wheels and tires out of the custom Cutlass Supreme. The grill that is in there in the Hurst Old and in the custom Cutlass is the correct one for a Cutlass Supreme or a Hurst Olds. So if that was a concern, as we're sitting here talking about it, don't worry, that grill's fine. It's just not the right one for that 442 that was featured on the box art of the original kit. I've taken some heat online already about saying that this is a very Copo Nova version of way to fix things. Which, for the people who don't realize that whole fiasco, Revell had, of course, done the 69 Nova series. It's 3 kits. There's the Yenko kit, a 350 SS kit that has drag parts in it, and then the last kit was the Copo Central Office Production Order kit. Well, the thing is that in 1969 there is no such thing as a Copo Nova. It was not an available thing. It just doesn't exist. What the kit did do, however, was include the plain interior, the plain steel wheels and hubcaps, the non-SS grille and non-SS tail panel you need to actually make a correct Chevy Nova Yenko. So that always seemed to me to be a smarmy way of fixing a large problem that you claim you didn't realize existed. Although, how do you build? How do you measure what it's the first kit, right? The Yenko was the first one, so this is the first thing you measured. How did you not know that there were all these differences? Blind, indifferent, who knows? But they did fix it. The interesting part about the whole Nova thing is, and the reason why I actually have the 69 Novas myself, is that if you take all the parts out of the Copo Nova that you need to make the Yenko Nova correct, you still have all of the parts and And this is the Revell, shenanigans for you. They included the decals for a 396 SS Nova, which actually is one of the rarest ways to get a 69 Nova. There were only like 1,100 of those built. So they knew, to me, exactly what they were doing, or somewhere along the line, somebody got a hold of them and said, well, hey, you effed up the first kit royally, and, you should need to make that right, and blah, blah, blah. And knowing the backfire that would occur if they released a kit of a fake car, which they did, technically speaking, that you would then have to, take all of the parts out of to make the first kit correct in the first place, they very wisely left all of the SS parts inside and included the decals to make the 396 SS Nova. So this is pretty much the same sort of thing. We're going to quietly insert some parts that fix a problem that we didn't admit that we ever had. I talked to somebody who claims that they talked to Ed Sexton originally when the kit came out, and Ed Sexton and Revell went, well, I didn't even know there was a problem. So, again, how do you measure these cars and not notice it? I get the Revell defenders are out going, well, there's a very subtle difference, and you wouldn't really realize unless you're familiar with the car. And why would you agree to make a model kit of something that you don't have reference photos of to realize that they're wrong? Do you just assume that everyone is so stupid they won't realize the grill is incorrect? It is the first thing you see on the front end of the car. All right, so anyway, that's just there. It probably will be something I actually end up going and purchasing because I really did want to build a 442 Nova. I've not built any of the 72s because, I just, A, haven't ever got around to them, and B, that I wanted to build the 442 more than I wanted to build the Hurst Olds, and it doesn't have the right grill in it, so now I suppose I'll probably go out and get this more expensive version of the Indy 500 version. If anybody wants a custom Cutlass, the one with the low pro wheels and tires, because I don't need the up top anymore because the up top comes in this new one, and the Linda Vaughn figure, we can probably make some arrangements at some later date. I don't have the kit right now. Please don't spam the comments with give me the stuff, because I don't have it. So anyway, on to kit announcements. Aoshima has released a large slate of things for January spot runs, as well as a couple of reissues that they're sort of terming as being modified or at least in new packaging. So for January, and this is a little bit of a list here, so bear with me, they're going to be reissuing the R34 Skyline GTR V-Spec 2. This is their version of the R34. The chassis in it is not particularly fantastic, in my personal opinion. Everything's molded into it. However, it does sort of save you some purchasing if you were very much into buying or building, rather, all of the R34 variations, because Aoshima did a M-Spec NUR, the Nuremberg version, the M-Spec being the luxury version of the R34 GTR, and then Tamiya's R34 V-Spec 2 can be built as a V-Spec NUR. So this allows you to, build a V-Spec 2 and have it be sort of a little bit of a different building experience, and still build the Tamiya kit as the NUR, because those were very, very limited production GTRs. And, if you're a GTR, not that kind of stuff matters. They're going to be reissuing the 2014 GTR Pure Edition. This is the kit that just came out, like the beginning of, or actually the summer of this year. They're reissuing the Toyota Hilux double cab pickup truck. That is the sort of regular base Toyota pickup truck. I'm trying to just roll over here and grab it, but it's not in a position where I can reach it real easy. It's not the big jacked up monster truck one. It's just sort of the regular production double cab, four door cab pickup truck. They're reissuing the Toyota Century in the 18-inch VIP spec. It's not very VIP. It just has bigger wheels and tires than the original Toyota Century does. Reissuing the Auto Couture Toyota Celsior, the K-Brake Toyota Crown Majesta, and then let's see what else here. The Urace or Urass R34 Skyline 4-door, the Top Secret Tuning House Nissan Silvia S15. They're reissuing the Abuni di Camminato 302, which is a separate TV show than the original Abuni di Camminato. For the Nissan Leopard late production, this is like the facelifted version of the 1980s Nissan Leopard. Also goes in with the ties into the two kits rather than doing for the new movie in January. They're reissuing the Toyota Trino 86 Project D. That is the second of the three kits that has some modifications to it. The Toyota Trino 86 Volume 37, that is, of course, the one that has the full roll cage and all the racing parts and different engine parts, and it's the one we always suggest you get if you really want one. They're going to be reissuing all three of the Back to the Future DeLoreans, so that's the first movie, the second movie, and the third movie. The third movie, of course, comes available with the railroad track setup. Reissuing the Toyota Mark II Toro 5 JZX 100. That's the last of the model versions that they did. It's like a 90s car in the late production Aero version. That's slightly different than the other Mark II Toro 5 that they did. They're also going to be reissuing two of the 1980s style pickup trucks, that being the Toyota Hilux Cali look truck. Is sort of an early 80s Toyota pickup truck. This comes with some surfboards. Also, the Datsun 720 Lowrider. Again, this is a 1980s Datsun pickup truck, but both of those are lowrider spec. They do not come, necessarily speaking, in a way that you could build them just as regular pickup trucks without some kit bashing or part swapping anyway. And then they're going to be reissuing 4 sets of 19-inch wheels. The Ativan Racing RSDF, RG3s, and GTs, as well as the Enkei GTC 01RR. These are actually the 4-wheel sets that I actually own. Don't do a lot with wheel swapping as of yet, but those 4 were ones that I actually liked when they reissued them last year and picked those up already. I haven't used them yet, but I have them. So. Also for February, these are the 2 other kits we're talking about. They're going to be doing special 25th anniversary packaging of the Suzuki Cappuccino and the Honda Beat. The reason that I sort of sound skeptical, I guess, would be that both of those cars were made in the early to mid-90s and have not subsequently been, redone. There's, technically speaking, a successor to the Honda Beat. That's the Honda S660. That is a car that's supposed to go into production at the end of the year. Of course, we're at the end of the year, and as of yet has not gone into production. It's a very tiny little K car, convertible so far. It doesn't look like it's going to actually come to the United States, but there's never been a successor to the Suzuki Cappuccino. There are all these little tiny K car convertibles that Aoshima did, and both those cars were introduced in 1991, and so they're doing some sort of 25th anniversary tie-in. They are going to be completely, at least from the boxing sounds of things, factory stock. There are, of course, the initial D and one other tuner version of the Suzuki Cappuccino, and there's at least 2 versions of the Honda Beat. There's a Mugen version and the Mach 1, Mach 7, Mach something or other. It's the one I actually have, but I should look for it. The RS Mach version. These are going to be just the factory stock versions, and then it says also with anniversary spec. I don't know what that means because there's no, it's not like they still make them. When they did the 10th anniversary Daihatsu Copen, for instance, the car was still in production and actually having its 10th anniversary. The Honda Beat ceased production in 1996 and the Suzuki Cappuccino in 1997, so it's not like there's a anniversary that is actually being celebrated. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly they think they're going to do to both of those. Maybe some decals, boxing, I don't know, to make them be 25th anniversary. Or maybe the anniversary will be that they'll include all of the parts from the other kits. They did do that with like the Active Top Copen here recently, where you could build it like 3 or 4 different ways. But that's pretty much it as far as kit announcements go. We're waiting, for everybody else's January spot run stuff, and that takes us, I guess, over into what actually came out here at the very end of November and the beginning of December. On the domestic side of things, this wraps up November, and this will be the round 2 stuff that we've been waiting on. First up, you have the 1958 Chevy Impala. This, of course, being the, old, reliable Impala tooling, if you want to call it that. They do make this in two different moldings, or two different colors, I guess I should say. It's molded in white, and there's also one that's molded in gold. So if you're not trying to get the gold one, make sure that you're looking at what the sticker on the box says as far as what it's molded in. And as we always remind you on round 2 kits, if you flip them over and look at the bottom of the box, there's a parts runner layout, and it will say something to the effect of all parts other than chrome and black rubber are molded in blah. So make sure you get the right color. They're going to have gold pinstripes and on one side and white walls on the other, pad printed tires. It's a 3-in-1 kit. It's basically, just the same 58 Impala it's always been, with the addition, of course, of those pad printed tires. They've expanded the decal sheet in some way or shape. I haven't seen the decals to know, and I don't think I've actually ever had an AMT 58 Impala, at least not one recently enough to remember it. And of course, you're getting this retro box art. The other round 2 kit for November that's finally out is the Dirty Donnie tie-in 1971 Dodge Charger. This one is molded in pearl orange, whether you like it or not, which is kind of ironic since one of the biggest complaints when they reissued this kit when round 2 sort of started leasing AMT's tooling back in 2008 was they molded it in orange. So they're molding it in orange again. This does not come in white also. It only comes in the pearl orange, so deal with that. It's going to include smoke-tinted windows, which the original kit issuing did not. Of course, you're getting this goofy Dirty Donnie not inspired. He drew the box, the Dirty Donnie guy. But you get this new box art for it, and we have new decals in it, which will allegedly have all of the factory stock correct decals, which is something that the original issue of the kit and the subsequent 6 or 7 reboxings that this kit has had in its lifespan never had. So, I mean, that's sort of I guess interesting in that sense. I'm not really into the pearl orange. Of course, I still actually have one of the original AMT Ertl 1997 boxings of the kit anyway, so I don't need a second one, but pearl orange. Okay, so that being what it is. That gets us over to kit releases. We have one honest-to-God new tool. Technically, it's not a car per se, and then a couple of reissues. The new tool being the Fujimi rendering of the, this is just Bond car submarine. Now they had to have the licensing from United Artists, I guess, now that has the rights to the 007 franchise. So why this isn't like James Bond or 007, it's just Bond car. So the Bond car, I've taken a look at the parts runners and the instruction sheets. Everything about the way this car constructs and the details included and stuff like the interior, which of course you can't really see because it has that window slats, that were in the movie. It does have a very detailed gauge cluster. The interior is very basic. It's just basically 2 seats, the dashboard, steering column, steering wheel, a handbrake, and the shifter. I mean, so it's 7 pieces, but it's not a lot. The door cards aren't separate. It's a very big tub. At least the bottom of the seats aren't molded into the floor for a change, but that's stuff that you really wouldn't need necessarily to have. You could have just made the windows smoke tinted or whatever. The outside window louvers, the side window louvers apply from the outside. The front the front one applies to the inside of the windshield. The back one is actually an insert that goes over the cargo area, or would actually be the engine area of the actual car. Everything else is really kind of separate. The hull, if you want to call it that, is separate. The fins, the stabilizer fins, fit into the wheel arches. The way it's molded and the way it assembles, to me, indicates that at some point in time, if this sells, perhaps, I don't know if there's an actual plan for this or not. It's hard to tell with Fujimi. They don't really say too much about their future products, but it makes me think that there is a road version of this car coming, because it includes parts like oil guns and cement guns, which obviously you would not be using underwater. I don't believe you could actually inject cement underwater. It would just be liquid at that point. So I do expect at some point in time there will be a road-going version of this, which is kind of interesting, not for the James Bond part necessarily, just there hasn't really been a model of this older version of the Lotus Esprit, because the monogram one was the later version and the turbo and all the rest of that stuff. So it'll be interesting what they do with it. The hull is just a very blank piece of plastic, so they're going to have to obviously make a real chassis for this. If they do make a road version of it, it'll obviously be a curbside because there's no engine detail or anything else like that. But it should make, another, random Fujimi shelf model, which is not going to win any contests or anything else like that. But it'll be a conversation piece if you collect, British cars, because again, the very basic trim level, trim level and model year of this Lotus has never been done before. Hasegawa has reissued the Team Schnitzer BMW 318 British Touring Championship Series champion car. You can build this with either the Winkelhock or the Soper driving, and they finished first and second in the BTCC in 1994, I think it was. And so that's what the champion thing is. One of them, I think, Winkelhock actually won and Soper finished second. I read the info file on it the other day, and I can't remember how that works. But one of the two won, and the other one was second. There are, I believe, different mirrors in this than the JTCC version. But this, again, goes out and crushes a little bit of kit value because the BTCC, much like the JTCC kits, were, out of production for forever and, were unobtainium $90 kits on eBay. Nice to have them back for $20 or so. And then, let's see here. Aoshima reissued, and this is a November spot run reissue, the Lamborghini Aventador LP724 50th Anniversario version. Nothing new about this kit that was not in the original, issue of this kit this year. Just a restock. And then lastly, Fujimi also, I forgot this was a Fujimi kit, or would have talked about it with the James Bond kit. They actually did get this out. This was not on the corporate release site when we did, the November video or the December video. And I'll be danged if on November 30th they didn't spit this out and then add it to the corporate release site. What this is the Mitsubishi Fuso dump truck. 124 scale, so it's not a 132nd scale like most of the trucks in Japan are. This is, of course, the old Mitsuwa tooling. This is basically the tractor portion of the car hauler with the dump box on it. More than likely, all the parts are still there to just build a tractor. If you just want to build if you really, much like the Super Dolphin, the dump truck, if you just want to build them as tractors without actually having the expense of having the car hauler attached, this is a way to do that. You just not put the dump box on because there is a secondary sort of basically where the fenders are underneath the dump box. There's a second version of that included in the kit that is the portion that is a lower profile set of fenders that hugs the wheels a little closer and has the fifth wheel plate and stuff like that on it. Otherwise, the dump box between this and the Super Dolphin are the same. These, like I said, the kits really aren't that different in real life. The trucks weren't that different. That's why these Super Dolphin and the Fuso were both actually made, because there was much part interchangeability between the two. Just like the dump truck, just like the car hauler and the other versions, these are full detail kits. They didn't take anything out of this. Just included the tooling for the dump bed in it, and that's pretty much it as far as that goes. So just another version of it. I'm still waiting on the Japanese art trucks, because for the people who don't know what those are and have never seen the boxings, the Mitsuo boxings, that's going to blow your mind, because it's not something we ever talk about here, because all of the Japanese art truck stuff is all 1/32nd scale. So to see what those look like for people who aren't aware of that style, especially the 80s versions of that style, that's going to be really eye-opening, I think, to a lot of people. And so, guys, that's what we got going on here. Start rolling out the reissues here probably this week. As far as calendar things go, Japan is closed on the 23rd because they do not celebrate Christmas. I mean, I'm sure there's people in expats from Western civilizations. Wow, that sounds awful. But Western countries who will celebrate Christmas, and I'm sure there's plenty of Japanese people who have adopted the Christmas custom. But they celebrate the winter solstice as a holiday, so they'll be closed that week. And then starting, I believe, it's either the 30th or the 31st. I have to look at the calendar again. The winter holiday will run pretty much from New Year's through the following Monday. We will have a show New Year's Day because that will be right after Revell of Germany does their kit announcements. Plus, we'll be cleaning up all the rest of the releases and stuff at the end of December. that are just coming in. Now, whether we do a show the first week of January, we'll see. It all really depend on what, if any, kits are released that week, or if we get February spot run stuff, or actually probably March spot run stuff at that point. We'll play that show by ear, but we will have shows on all of the Fridays this month. So we will have a Christmas show. Can't promise you it will come out on Christmas per se because family stuff. And then we'll, of course, like I said, we'll have a show on New Year's Day, simply because of the Revell of Germany stuff, plus cleaning up the rest of the month. Last year we did the Revell of Germany thing as a separate thing from the staff report itself on the Friday, or I think I've said that. We may be doing staff reports on Wednesday back then. But since New Year's Day falls on a Friday, it just all coordinates. So anyway, guys, we hope you enjoyed your weekend, and hope it's not going to be too cold wherever you are. It's going to be 62 on Saturday here, so we'll get some painting done, hope. Anyway, catch you guys. See you on the other side.